Hello.
Hello.
So this week in our Get Inspired series, we spoke to Tony James, who is a runner from the north of England.
Yeah, Tony's a really nice guy. We had a really good laugh as well. It was a lovely conversation. He's got loads of interesting stuff to say about running, motivation, plant-based diet, and how running and plant-based diet has changed his life for himself and for his wife.
Yeah, absolutely. So we hope you really enjoy this video, and if you do, please like, subscribe. And share.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
Welcome, Tony.
Hi, Tony. Hello. Welcome to our channel.
Yeah, welcome to our
problems. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. How are you today?
All good. Ran a marathon on Sunday, a virtual marathon because everything's cancelled. The whole of 2020 has been cancelled. You might have noticed that. So all the runs have gone virtual, which basically means you're running it on your own or just with a few people. So Sunday just gone, and this being Tuesday when you're recording this. I did the virtual Manchester Marathon, so 26.2 miles on Sunday, and I'm feeling tip-top today, 2 days later.
Brilliant.
So
wow, 2 days.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
so,
that's some recovery.
Yeah, it is some recovery. So that was actually one of my questions for later, but I'll go straight in for it now. So with all these running events being cancelled this year, and you're doing them anyway, which is brilliant, along with obviously lots of other people. But how do you find the motivation to do that? Because obviously it's very different to going and lining up with, hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of people to then just doing it on your own or doing it with like one or two other people. It's a very different experience.
It is totally different. No two ways about it. Excuse me. When you rock up and you're doing the London Marathon, which I did in 2019, you're there with 45,000 other people in a field in Greenwich, and there's a whole buzz. There's a real buzz of excitement from all the runners and the marshals who were there. And then when you actually get out on the road, there's like the whole of London turns out. The whole 26.2 miles. It's like 3-4 people deep all the way round, and they're all cheering. You've got your name on your vest, they're cheering you, they're offering you jelly babies. In fact, they're offering you free beer as you're going round as well. Absolutely an amazing experience, and I think anybody should actually try at some point in their life just to do the London Marathon. Whether you run it or walk it, you've still got to go and experience it. It's one of those things. But for me, when I started running on my own, right, and all my training is done generally on my own. So to actually go out and run a marathon on my own is not too big a problem, because I'm used to being out there. You've got your tunes and your headphones, or you're listening to a book. I've picked up on some great running books, like Scott Jurek's Eat and Run is a fantastic book, and I listen to all that whilst out running. An 8-hour audio book, that's 2, 3, 4 runs to listen to. So I've always run on my own. That said, I've got a running group that I'm a member of, and we go out and do runs together as well. So there is some social running, but most of my training is done on my own. So the mindset for actually running a marathon is head down and go.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I did Berlin last year as well, 2019. And that was me. That was me on my own with 40,000 people. I didn't know anybody there.
Yeah.
Nobody to talk to. There was nobody waiting for me at the finish line. The wife was with me, obviously, but there was nobody there at the finish line as part of your team to greet you. So to go abroad and run a race on your own, it's brilliant. So it doesn't, what I'm trying to say, it doesn't bother me whether I'm running with a crowd or on my own. I still just go out there and run because the passion is the run.
The running.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you mentioned your wife. Does she run also, or she?
She started. She's got a place in the London Marathon. She's deferred to 2022 like I have. So she's now got 18 months to get up to scratch. She's done a couch to 5K, and she's just plodding along nicely before she starts to build it up in this 18-month window that she's now got to get up to the full distance. She was up to 14, 15 miles previously. So
right.
Not as fast as me, obviously, but she was there. She was doing the miles, which is great.
Yeah.
So, it's a sort of shared hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. You picked up running a few months ago now, didn't you?
You've been running for about a couple of years.
Yeah, and then you picked it up
and then
after me.
I was always very much oh God, I hate running, wouldn't run for a bus, that kind of person. And then after seeing all the stuff that sort of Johnny got out of it mentally and physically, I was like, I'm going to give this a go. And I thought, I'll just see if I can run 1 kilometre. I had no clue what I was capable of or anything. Yeah. And I did it, and I thought, okay, well, that was all right. And then I just slowly built it up. I mean, the furthest I've ever run is only 11K at the moment, but I've only been running for 8 weeks, something like that. So
you've done
it's
great.
Not too bad. But I mean, I'm not fast, but I am enjoying it. It's certainly a challenge, the longer ones. But
it's funny you say that. You've only been running, what did you say, 8 months or so?
8 weeks.
About 8 weeks or so.
Yeah.
You've been running since you were 1 year old.
Well, that is true, yeah.
Born to run, yeah.
We are born to run. It's a natural inbuilt ability. We learn to crawl, we stand up, we toddle, we walk, and then we run. We all do it. It's more a case of, when did we learn not to run?
Yeah.
When did we fall out of practice? Because you go out with the children, the grandchildren, and watch them playing. They're running all day.
Yeah. Natural
running form, natural energy. They're not complaining about not wearing the latest Nike shoes. They're out there and they're just running. So when did we unlearn that natural ability? Because I'm the same. I was running at school till I was 16, left school, never ran again.
Yeah.
Not until I was 51 when I picked it up.
Yeah, wow.
Now I've got a lot of wasted years where I think I should have been running.
Yeah.
But where do we learn that? When do we lose that ability to run?
Yeah.
When do we fall out of love with it?
Yeah.
No, I'll go to races now, and people at the club, and I'm talking to them, and they'll go, well, I used to hate running at school in PE. Now they're out running 10Ks and half marathons.
Yeah.
So what happened in our younger years that took us away from our natural ability to run, to finding it boring, don't like it?
100%, yeah.
When do we unlearn it? That's the thing.
You know, I used to run for the county up until 16. I would say to you, was that still to this day, the one thing which I had a natural talent for. And then 16, 17, in came cigarettes and music and booze.
Girls.
And then, just like your experience, I picked it up again just after turning 40. So, you know, there's that huge gap of years where I think, well, why didn't I do this instead of doing that? Because it's so much better.
I think we all fall into that corporate trap, don't we?
That's right.
Work. When it's not all about work.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger famously said there's 24 hours in the day. 8 of them are for sleeping, 8 of them are for working, and the other 8 are for you to enjoy. So why aren't we utilising those times to actually
absolutely.
And you mentioned it earlier as well about the mental side of it. It's going out and running. To me, it's a great head clearer. Go out, just disappear into a book, disappear into the music, just think about life, enjoy the outside, the smells, the sights, the scenery, and it really brings you back and grounds you. And look at some of the things you've been worried about and think, why? Why have I got worried about that? Why am I worried about that deadline? You know, it's
So you had this massive gap then from running at school and then to running again in your 50s. So what made you start running again then? What made you decide to give it another go?
It's the world famous London Marathon. I think I spent 38 years watching it on TV going, I'm going to do that next year.
Right.
I'm going to do that next year, and never did anything about it. And then April 2018, I thought, I'm going to do it this year. So it was a mindset change. That's my goal. I want to run the London Marathon.
Right.
So my mind changed, and I started running consistently, going longer, going further, and it just came together. Didn't get in the ballot, because nobody ever gets in the ballot, but I got a charity place.
Right.
Just by writing those applications, filling out those forms. I think I probably filled about 20 charity application forms, and then the Mental Health Foundation turned around and said, "Yeah, can you run for us?" Absolutely brilliant. And I've read that email. Excuse me. So again, it was then working towards and running that London Marathon, which I did. I like this. It's addictive. And it snowballed from then, going on to run Berlin in the same year. And then there's the other world majors. You've probably heard of them. 6 marathons, the world majors: London, Berlin, Tokyo, Chicago, New York, and Boston. Now, I set myself an initial target of running them all by age 54, which, thanks to COVID, is now gone out the window. It's all cancelled. I'm going to extend that target. But I've given myself that goal that is achievable. Now running towards these, getting up all 6 majors. 2 down, 4 to go. The hard one is Boston.
Right.
Because you have to run a specific time to be able to qualify for Boston.
Right.
Okay.
What's the time, Tony?
For my veterans, as they call me, that age 50 to 54 is 3 hours 20 minutes.
Ooh, okay. That's some pace.
4-year-old. It is.
That is some pace.
I think they're trying to keep it more exclusive type marathon. So that's my time. When I first ran London, I did it in 4 hours 54.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to work on.
Quite a lot to shave off there. Yeah, absolutely.
But when I ran the virtual London 2 weeks ago, 3 hours 47.
Wow, well done. That is some pace. Inside 4 hours is doing good stuff. Well done.
It's come down
a lot.
And it's down to the consistency, and that's the secret sauce. Not just for running, but for anything in life. If you want to do anything, it's that consistency. Get out there and do it, and just keep it on going. You want to learn to play the guitar, pick the guitar up every day. Be consistent in your practice. Keep going, and that's where you'll get to what you want to do. This Boston time, I've still got, what's that, for the 27 minutes to knock off, something like that. Still, I can do it.
You can do it. Of course you can do it.
So, and how does that work? So you have to apply for that. How do they record that? How do they?
With Boston, you fill out the application form as everybody else and go into the ballot. And part of the ballot is you have to prove that you can run their qualifying time.
Right.
So you've got to submit evidence from a qualifying marathon. So, for example, if I run London in 3:19, that's my.
So you've also got to do that as well.
Yeah.
You've got to run the time to show them you can do the time. Or else everybody would be filling it in, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay, that's quite a challenge.
You've got to really want to do the Boston Marathon, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, to get that sixth star, then that's the one to do. That's the one to get in. The others you can get in. The normal ballots, you can, if you've got a good chance of getting into them. But Boston's the hardest one.
That's awesome.
So you were talking about consistency, and 100% agree is the way forward with anything. But do you find some days it's tough to get out there every day and run?
Yes, of course it is. You wouldn't be human if you didn't have those thoughts. But it's normally those dark winter mornings when you open the curtains and it's absolutely throwing it down. You think, no, not today. But I've done the little sneaky thing to get over that.
What's that?
There's a treadmill over there.
Yeah. There you go.
So and a lot of people have jumped into treadmill running because of COVID. Not being able to get out. So I've got the treadmill there. So if it is a particularly nasty day outside, jump onto the treadmill, do the miles inside. And the secret about treadmill running is a lot of people say, "Oh, it's a lot easier. It's padded. It's bouncy." Right. Put it on an incline. Once you put it onto 1% or higher on the incline, you're actually mimicking the outside forces of the wind and the pavement. Right. So doing the miles on an incline treadmill is like running it outside.
Right. I get you.
Drier.
Yeah. Not quite as interesting though. Don't get to see people.
It's different experience, I guess.
It is a different experience, and not everybody takes to it. But again, for me, bang on the headphones, listen to an audiobook as you're running. Or sometimes I'll just change the whole front room round and have it facing the TV and watch something.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's that consistency, like you say,
You've got to get out there. You've got to do it. And the other thing with marathon running, it's not just going out and running the same pace all the time. You've got to do different types of runs. Sometimes you've got to run quick. Sometimes you've got to run slow. Sometimes you've got to run up hills. Sometimes you've got to run sprints. You just got to mix it up to get that overall benefit.
Yeah. Yeah, because you found that, didn't you? Because you were originally going to do your monster marathon.
Yeah, I was training out for a marathon, but my runner's knee let me down a bit, so I'm just getting that back now at the moment. I did my first run back without any pain, which is quite nice today.
We've all been there with runner's knee. I lost the first 5 weeks of this training block for London due to runner's knee.
Yeah. It's frustrating, isn't it?
All you can do is take ibuprofen and put ice on it.
Yeah, that's it. I see. I've been doing a lot of yoga around the hip and lower back because I think that's where actually it's coming from, and that's been helping a lot. So that's helped today. So it's just one of them things.
that's what I say with anybody who picks up a running injury. Probably the best money you'll ever spend is going to see a physio. Because as you say, it might be your knee that's hurting, but at the end of the day, it's something in your shoulder that's caused it. So go and see a physio. They can sort all that out.
Yeah. I did a fair bit of research into that, and I saw actually there was a physio from Canada, and I put this up on the net a while back. There was actually now that, because there's been a lot of the school of thought's generally been rest the knee, and I did a lot of resting for weeks, and then I was like, it's not really changed that much. And his theory was almost like train to the pain, go up to 2K until you just feel it, and then stop, to strengthen wherever the problem is. And that kind of made a lot of sense, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot about that at the moment. It's not just about resting it. For example, again, it was what was his? I'm just trying to recall what the actual incident was, but I think it was somebody with a problem with the calf muscle. And what they were advised is, when we limp, the body's trying to take the weight off that calf muscle, so you're limping. But what the advice was, no, try and walk properly on it, because that way you're actually using the muscle, and the muscle will recover quicker because it is being used. The blood's going into it, it's rebuilding quicker than you trying to protect it, and it just withering away. So there's a big school of thought about
seems to be working.
Not pushing it too far, so take it too
no.
far the other way, but just to actually load it up and to get it moving.
Yeah, he said, like, get to about 2 out of 10 of your pain threshold and then stop. And that's we spoke to Luke Taberski, the first one of these that we did, who's a great endurance runner, and he said for recovery he'd often get in his shorts and his run stuff and then do 30 minutes whatever recovery stuff he needed to do within the house, and treat recovery training like running. And I think that was really good advice as well,
Well, that's what I did straight after Berlin. The following morning, it was myself and the wife were out, and we just went and did a couple of miles. You don't go fast, you don't overload the body, just go out and just go for a gentle jog, and it stretches out the muscles, and it really does aid the recovery process, going out and doing that. No, I've read plenty of reports that say once you've run a marathon, later that day, go for a walk. Just go out, stretch the muscles. You're not working them, you're just stretching them so that they recover quicker.
Yeah, well, that makes sense, doesn't it? Because as soon as you stop, when you move again, you're just like you're made of wood,
You can't get up the stairs.
The tip about the stairs, come down backwards.
Look at that. That's a bit of experience there.
That's something that people pick up once you run a marathon and your legs have seized up the following morning, and you're faced with the stairs and you try coming down. It's because of gravity and the way it loads your legs. It really does hurt coming downstairs. So you've either got to do the bottom shuffle to get down, or just turn around and walk down backwards, because the way gravity works on the legs. It's
easier.
I'm not saying it doesn't hurt. I'm saying it's easier.
It's not as degrading as the bottom shuffle, is it?
If you're at home, just do the bottom shuffle. It's fine.
I'm a runner, honest. That's how you feel. Taking my powers away.
The funny thing, coming back from Berlin with a certain airline who's orange, I'm not going to mention EasyJet because I'm not sponsored by them, but the flight back to Liverpool from Berlin, bear in mind, this is on the Monday after the Berlin Marathon, so the plane is full of about 150 runners and their families. So everybody on this plane is a runner or part of the family. They put this plane at a gate where you've got to go up and down 6 different flights of stairs.
Wowzers.
Oh,
thanks.
Dear.
We're coming.
Come in. Oh, bless you.
We're hobbling.
I bet that was a sight. So with regards to the recovery, I mean, you obviously are a plant-based runner. Do you find, because we've certainly found it with our exercise routines and things like that being plant-based has certainly sped up our recovery, just on a day-to-day basis, but certainly with bigger injuries also. Do you find that that's helped your recovery a little bit at all?
The short answer, yes.
Yes,
it certainly does. Obviously, I've looked into nutrition since turning plant-based, looked into nutrition, looked at what's good for you, what's bad for you, and what have you. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to... This is one thing that gets me with people when they think, oh, you've gone vegan, you've gone plant-based, it's all healthy, it's just salads. No. I've had a sausage roll and chips for my lunch today. It's not all healthy stuff. But I have looked into what's good and what's not. It's like I take a turmeric tablet a day because turmeric is good anti-inflammatory.
Yeah.
So that also aids on the recovery. So I've been in and I've looked at the things I can eat that aid the recovery. There's plenty of spinach in the diet these days. There's plenty of chickpeas in the diet. There's plenty of fibre in this.
Yeah.
We've totally changed the way we look at food for what we need for that particular thing.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people I see these stories and people ask questions like, can I be a runner on a keto diet? No, you can't be a runner on a keto diet because you're cutting out carbs. Carbs are your fuel.
Yeah.
Carbs, the carbs aren't broken down into sugar. The sugar's not broken down into glycogen. You've not got the fuel to run. So whilst I'm not looking at every macro and every little thing I eat, I have looked into the overall side of it and to see what does work and what doesn't.
Yeah. So was that your motivation to become plant-based? Was that very much on a health stance rather than animal welfare or environmental issues? Was it mainly to do with health for you, changing your diet?
I'll give you two answers to that. I'll give you a very short answer and then a proper answer. The very short answer is my wife told me I was going vegan.
Sounds familiar.
She went first. And it was all down to granola. She was just looking for a recipe for a granola to make her own granola, and ended up on that vegan couple, the Australian couple.
Yeah.
She ended up on their channel, and she announced one day after watching like 45,000 videos and what have you, that she was going vegan. But it's all right if I wanted to carry on being meat and dairy, that's not a problem at all. But just got to sort it out myself. And then she very sneakily put on the film What's the Health?
Yeah.
While I was in the room. So
it's a very similar tactic you had.
Yeah, I went by osmosis. That's what it was. She put that on and actually got really into it and watching about it, and thought, for me to do what I want to do, to become a better runner, to go for those targets that I've set, that I need to look at how I'm fueling it and how I'm pushing myself forward. So that's when I went vegan. Yes, in answer to your question, it was more health-based for me. But that's not to say that the animal welfare side of things isn't important. But for me, the driving force was my health and my ability to run better, faster, quicker. Yeah. You see plenty of races, people in vegan runners tops, getting all the abuse from meat eaters and what have you. And then you see the vegan runner beaten. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so exactly. You can't argue with that, though, can you? You can't argue with like we always say, is lead by example. You can't. There's no fight there.
It's a great way.
Someone sees you being happy, healthy, strong, fast, whatever it may be. There's no comeback. No. Unless they're going to beat you, there's nothing to say, is there?
When somebody runs past me, or when I finish, I'm going to have a bacon butty. Yeah, go and have it, mate. Go and enjoy it. You enjoy it. That's fine. I'm not. Not because I don't like it. My word, I love a bacon butty. I have chosen not to.
100%,
Yeah. And that's what people don't understand. Whatever stance you're coming from, whether you're coming from the animal welfare side or the health side, it's your choice. You're choosing not to do that. It's not a bit like, oh, sorry, you can't eat that, can you? Oh, you can't have that. No, I can have what I like, thanks, but I'm choosing not to because I don't want to eat a dead animal, or I don't want to make myself sick. And
I spoke to Danny Shep recently, and he was asked me a question about activism, and he said to me, and we were talking that you're going out running, wearing a plant-based top, that is activism, because it's just spreading a message. It's making people question, go, well, how come he's beating me every week, and he's 20 years older than me. And I think it's really just a positive message to send out to. And I feel personally just inspired by being plant-based and veganism and the diet, because I felt like I remember how I felt like in my mid-30s, and I know how I feel when I'm 42 now, and I just want to go out and run and do stuff. And it's nice to spread that about for other people to see, well, how come he's out there doing that every day?
The biggest difference to me in the way I feel is I don't feel sluggish or bloated, or do you know what I mean? After you've had a meal, previously you'd say, I just feel bloated and horrible. Never felt that since I've gone plant-based.
Yeah.
I think that must be all the fibre we eat, but I don't feel that bloated feeling. I don't feel tired. You know, the old after the Christmas meal, everybody sits around and falls asleep during the school pitch. Don't feel like that anymore. I always feel energized and ready to go.
That's awesome.
No, totally.
I feel like I can tap into sort of quite a high level of happiness a lot of the time as well, which I don't remember being able to when I was younger. I just feel a lot of the time I feel very sort of not motivated, but happy to do stuff. Happy, I don't know, clarity.
Yeah.
I think that's also the old midlife crisis turning 40.
You're not the first person to say that to me.
Oh, no, what it is, what that actually is once you get to it's around the age of 40. It's not necessarily 40, but around that age, you suddenly get to a point in your life where you don't care anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you don't care what people think about you. You don't care what the consequences of that are going to be. You just go and do something that you like doing.
Yeah.
You just get to a point, and I won't swear too badly. You get to a point where you don't give a toss.
No.
Yeah? It's all about
it's a
me.
good feeling. It's a good feeling.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It's a nice feeling. 40 onwards, I see life begins at 40.
Well, that's the saying, isn't it?
Yeah,
Life begins at
40.
40.
Wrong.
Yeah,
because you don't care anymore. You go out and do what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's that time where you see the corporate trap, where you've been trapped in this. You've been told at school you've got to go out and work. You've got to work. No, you don't. Go out and live and enjoy yourself.
Exactly.
Do
That's
some
too
work.
short.
Yeah, it certainly is. No, my dad died when I was 11 months old. No, the day he died in a car crash. The day he died, he wasn't thinking this is going to be my last day. It just happened.
Yeah.
That's how I've lived my life.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen around the corner. So I see friends of mine who've been saving up the money through the years. They've got all this money in the bank. And what are you doing with it? Well, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. When?
Yeah. Crack on.
Yeah. I think we all know people like that, don't we?
Yeah.
You've had it there 10 years. You've not done anything with it. When are you going to do something with it?
So it's like a safety net, isn't it? But then, like you say, for what? If you're not actually living your life, what are you worried about? What is the safety net for? You know?
Yeah. And what happens is, then they die, and then the kids go and squander it. You know?
Yeah. It becomes a trap. It becomes a security trap of, well, I can't lose that money. That's my security for what? No, quite rightly.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah, one of the other big things that changed for us is just before going plant-based, we also both went self-employed. We left the corporate world. We both went self-employed, and that was a big relief.
We hope you're enjoying this video. We'd love it if at the end you could head over and check out our crowdfunder.
We're raising money to buy land and buildings to create a unique sanctuary for all, and you can find out more about this over on our crowdfunder page.
You'll find the details in the description below, and please don't forget to check out our social media. You'll find us both on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you.
No, the amount of pressure that left, and initially thinking, where's the money coming from? It comes in. You get it.
Certainly does,
it happens. So take that leap of faith.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. I mean, we've both done that. I mean, Johnny's been self-employed for many years, and I did a similar thing some years ago now, about 11 or 12 years ago, and I was working in a real sort of stuffy office, corporate of the corporate in the city of London, and I just thought, I got fed up with working. I described it as a grey building with a few colourful people, and I was like, there's got to be more to life than this. I want to live with with loads of colourful people and a few grey ones, and I literally waited until the day after I got my bonus, and then I handed my notice in, which they absolutely hated, and I did, and I followed my dream and went and become a freelance writer after that. But you're right, if after the initial, oh my goodness, what's going to happen here, it's the best thing you can do. It's always fine, as long as you're following your true path. It's always fine. Absolutely.
And if you notice, you work longer and harder doing your own job.
Oh God,
because you're enjoying it, because you don't mind doing it.
Yeah, definitely. Right. But so you've also got, I'm just looking behind you, you've got your Tony James vest up there. Yeah. So you've got your YouTube channel, which is all branded up, and you've got your vest and your merchandise as well.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be the future. That's what I'm looking into doing. Obviously, I've put all the ducks in the row, as they say. We've got the YouTube channel, we've got the Instagram, we've got the Facebook, we've got Twitter. Does anybody use Twitter anymore? That's a question.
We don't. I know that much.
It's very news based, isn't it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
So I've got everything branded, ready to go. Trying to build the YouTube community, but I've been waiting now since March to get my coaching badges, because that's because I've got this. I really love running, and I want to take that forward, but I can't really help anybody until I've got that formal qualification and the formal insurance in place and all that and the other.
Yeah.
So I was down to do a course with English Athletics back in March, and then
good timing.
and everything went.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for that to come through, and once we get the green light to start, it looks like it's going to go to a more web-based training program to get that first coaching badge, which should be good, with the use of Zoom and what have you. Once we've got that first qualification, then we can actually move out and start teaching people how to remember how to run.
That's awesome.
How to remember how to run.
How to remember how to run.
That's a really nice angle, I think, Tony. That's really cool.
Yeah. So that's make some money from it.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Absolutely.
Do you find people who contact you or follow you on these mediums, YouTube and Instagram, for example, and are they mainly younger people, or do you find that you get people more around your age group that come in and say, you know, hey, I'm a similar age to you, I'm not quite sure where to start, or is it mainly younger people?
Well, to be honest, the two age groups you mentioned are the ones that you hear about. It's the ones in the middle that you don't tend to hear about. You've got the youngsters, the 18, 24-year-olds who are talking and chatting away. Then you've got the veterans like myself who realise that running's good for you, who are chatting. But you don't hear anything of it in the middle, which again probably goes back to what we were saying earlier. Yeah. You've got those forgotten years.
Yeah.
And when you go to races and what have you, you see the youngsters, you see the veterans. But again, that middle age, that early middle age is missing.
Yeah.
So, but it's also, I think, the older age group are more vocal.
Yeah.
Because the kids these days, the younger kids, you probably see it with your own kids. They're all sat there. They don't interact with each other. You know, for me, for when I was a child, social networking was going down the park and playing.
Absolutely.
Not sat in your bedroom at 10:30 at night texting everybody.
Yeah, and it's even harder this year as well. It's kind of encouraging even more, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because everyone's being
the tech giants
so apart. Yeah,
doing well out of it.
But yeah, like you say, they like yourselves, and us, they haven't been brought up doing that, so they're more predisposed, I guess, to having a chat with you and coming forward, maybe.
So is there an aim there to do a bit of a drive and a bit of a campaign to kind of get maybe new dads and people in the sort of late 20s to start thinking about a gateway to running? There's
definitely an untapped market there for, well, not just that age group, but for people in general. And I know working with the Vegan Runners Running Club, they seem to have a lot happening down south, but there doesn't seem to be much happening up here in the north. So again, that's something I'm looking at, maybe starting a Couch to 5K group with the Vegan Runners locally, and encouraging people who might not have taken up running to enter it that way. So different angles to look at.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the long-term plan.
Yeah, but it's good to have a plan, especially you have to when you're freelancing. You can't just sit on your bum and hope it all comes in. Definitely. But that's great.
I'll buy me lottery ticket.
Yeah, and that.
It's great because for me, it was the Couch to 5K app. And as soon as I sort of found out about that, because I knew nothing about that, and it filtered down through the internet. That for me was a way in after sort of coming out of sort of I used to call it the Fat Dad group, where which I sort of unknowingly wandered into in my mid-30s. And swiftly got out of, but it's finding that group and just being able to associate with something. As you said earlier, it was I have worked on my own for a long time, sort of freelancing, so I'm used to my own company, so that wasn't a problem. But just going into being a part of something, being a runner, being, starting to call yourself, and you start after about a year, I'm like, I'm quite athletic now. Start calling myself an athlete because I'm part of running. You do. It gives you a lot of confidence. There's a lot of guys out there that really need that, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Leading by example. As I say, the Couch to 5K app is brilliant for getting people running, but combine that with a running group where there's people that are encouraging you each
Yeah.
week as well. It's not just running on your own. It's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing that struck me was after I ran London for the first time, I was just a local 10K race, and there was just a few of us coming together, and a guy walked over, threw his arm around my shoulder and said, "I'll do marathoner." And that really struck me. I'd never thought about it. Yes, I'm a marathoner now.
Yeah.
I've done it. And that just made me feel great, you know.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an elite group when you think about it.
It is.
Only 1%
Absolutely,
of the UK population have done it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I felt
that
that even
encouragement.
after I'd done, because I always used to look at 5K as totally unachievable for me. You know, I was like, no, never going to happen. And when I went out, I just went out one day and I thought, I'm just going to run. Been doing the 5K, and I thought I'm just going to keep going. And I got to 11K, and I was like, I've really got to go home because I've got things to do. But I was just over the moon. I thought, I can't believe I've passed the 10K mark from someone who thought they could never even ever get to 5K. I mean, and so to run a marathon must be just incredible.
Well, when I started
club.
this journey in April late 2018, I couldn't run from lamppost to lamppost.
Wow.
That's how it started. I was 14 and a half stone. I had the beer belly, even though I don't drink beer, so don't know where that came from.
That's not fair, isn't it?
I think it's just a male thing in middle age. This bump just formed. So it was there, 14 and a half stone. Now, 2 years later, I'm 2.5 stone lighter. Feel better for it. And the thing is, the weight's come down to 12 stone, and then it's just stayed there.
Yeah.
No, I don't feel I'm trying to maintain it. It's just staying there. So whatever I'm taking on and whatever exercise I'm doing, it's just working perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm just yo-yoing up and down a couple of pounds around that. But it's generally that.
Yeah.
That's balance, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, we found that the way I kind of think of it is, instead of losing weight, I lost a load of waste.
Yeah.
It was just waste. It was just stuff, like crap my body didn't need, basically.
Yeah.
And like you say, now I'm not trying, not dieting, not doing anything special, just regular exercise and a healthy diet with the odd burger and cake in there too. And it just sort of stays, like you say, just sort of plateaus out and stays the same. I don't have any issue now, whereas before it used to be sort of up and down like a big yo-yo. And I totally, the plant-based diet and the running, well, and other exercise things as well. But do you do anything other than running? Do you do weights or yoga or any other exercises?
Well, running's not just about the legs and moving forwards. You do have to think about your core and your upper body, because don't forget, 26.2 miles. You're running, you're using your shoulders, your body's twisted. Just think about where your leg connects to your body. That's moving in two planes at the same time. Your legs are going backwards and forwards, and your hips are going from side to side. So you've got to think about building the upper part of the body to withstand that type of the pressure as well. So obviously, even if you just go and do a plank 3 times a week, you're getting something into your core to strengthen it. So there is core strengthening. The plank's the obvious one, doing that every day. And then I don't do heavy weights. I just do light weights every other day. I've just got a barbell in the bedroom, and we've just got some weight on it. Just doing some crunches with that, and that seems to work for me. Lots of stretches, obviously, and things like that. Not yoga per se, and I've had plenty of yoga instructors telling me, "Oh, you need to do this, you need to do that." If I do a downward dog, I don't get up again. But
I think it's stuff you enjoy, isn't it? That's the thing. I think we could all be told to do things, but you've got to want to do it. And I've most really recently, literally like 4 or 5 days ago, gone into yoga. Lex has been telling me to do it for like the last 4 or 5 years, but I've just done it when I feel like it's the right time, and now I'm enjoying it.
It does stretch out those muscles, and it's there's an app out there with Chris Hemsworth. You've probably seen it. Is Center 6 app, which the wife's been using, and she made me have a go on the beginners, the beginners first video, just a half hour doing these circuits, these reps. I couldn't move. It absolutely killed me. And I can run a marathon, so it's using the muscles differently. So you've got to do the variety, not just the run. You've got to do these other varieties.
There was a great. We did an interview with Thrive and Jane from the Instagram. You might have seen her from a few weeks back, and I was talking about a sprint cyclist, and he was doing a podcast I listened to, and he amazed me. He's done, you know, all the big key races and won stages at Tour de France. But he said, I struggle to run a kilometre. And it's just those different muscle groups.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes, well, obviously cycling is the great cross trainer for the runner, because you're still using your legs, you're still getting power into your legs, but it's using a different set of muscle groups in a different way.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can be absolutely fantastic on a bike, but you can't run. So yeah, it's one of those that's a great cross trainer, as is swimming.
Yes.
Swimming again helps with the muscles for a runner.
Yeah. Triathlons, that's what you need to get into.
that doesn't appeal to me. Triathlon doesn't appeal to me. Swimming, cycling and running, no, I'll just do the running bit. Running, changing the distance, going further, going over a more rugged terrain, now that appeals to me.
Yeah.
A few more years.
Doing an ultra?
Of course I do. Of course I do. Everyone does. The goal, as I said, this time is to go for the 6 stars of the majors. But eventually, I'd love to get into ultra running.
Yeah.
Go and watch
awesome.
Go and watch a video on the Western States Ultra in America. You know, one of the premier ultra running events. Oh, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. So that's where we want to be, outside in the country, up and down the trails, up and down the mountains.
Yeah. Is trail running, because I've certainly, I think you do too, certainly prefer the trail running to just running on the street or on a grass.
I'm lucky where I am. I've got the river just round the corner, so we can be up and down the river paths there, which are the semi trails. It's still made up path, but it's more rocky and what have you. So I do prefer that. We've got the Lake District on the doorstep, so at some point when they allow us to move around freely, we'll get out there and we'll start running up and down them fells.
It makes me feel like a kid trail running. I don't know if you feel the same. I just feel very free. It's a bit
running up and down hills and around. And, definitely.
Nice.
So, because are you still quite locked down then, I guess, up there? Because the north of England has had it heavier than us down here, hasn't it? With the lockdowns.
It's the same mixed messages, don't go out, but you can go out and all that. So, but to be honest, social distancing's brought in what we've been practicing for years. Just keeping out of everybody's way.
Exactly what we've been saying. It's not really changed much for us.
Shops are quieter.
Yeah.
Excellent. So the future holds then for Tony. So you're going to get these. You're going to tick off your big 6.
Yeah, get them done.
You're going to get your qualifications. Get
trained up and spread the message. Somebody said to me the other day, you're the best type of vegan. We know you're vegan, we know you're plant-based, but you don't bleat on about it all the time. If somebody comes and asks me a question, then I'll talk to the houses till the cows come home, so to speak. But no, I'm not an out there in-your-face activist. So as you said earlier on, we all do our activism.
Leading by example, that's it. 100%. It gets the message across, I think, more potently sometimes than just slamming something in someone's face.
Well, I saw the other day that our Miley Cyrus has said she's moving away from veganism because her doctor says she needs some more omega-3.
Yeah.
Well, I can help you there, Miley. There's a bottle in the cupboard in the kitchen. There's vegan omega-3 tablets.
Yeah, I know.
It's sad when you see people that, when you're older, we can kind of see through a lot of things. But when people are younger and they look up to someone like Miley Cyrus, that message it's a bit weak, isn't it? It's a shame when you see these celebrities sort of misusing what power they have.
It is.
But it's the way the world turns at the moment.
But you often find as well with people like that is that they've been quite hardcore in one route. Like they're quite hardcore. Like we only eat raw vegan, or I only eat watermelons, or I only eat coconuts or something, and then I've been ill, and you're like, well, there's a surprise. I don't think it's the plant-based diet. I think it's just the fact that you're only eating coconuts might have done it. They're quite sort of, or they're only eating junk food, or they haven't got a very good, like Johnny just said, any balance in any way of their lifestyle. And then unfortunately the first thing to go is the veganism, because they believe that that's the root of all evil. And that's frustrating. That's frustrating, because you do influence the younger generation, and it's not as easy to see through it as when you get older.
I know how in the last couple of years veganism has changed, and how it's easier now to be plant-based.
Definitely.
We're only going back a couple of years when we changed over, but the thing that really got to me was the loss of convenience
Right.
at the time. Yeah, because everything you had to really make your own stuff. But then I'll call it the Greggs factor. Once Greggs brought out their sausage roll and everybody else seems to have followed suit, that's where I lost out on the convenience side. As I said earlier on, I don't eat healthy all the time. I do like my fast food, junk food, whatever you want to say. And that's where I really felt I was missing out. That's where I was, I don't like this because I can't do it. But now, since the likes of Greggs have come along, KFC have done it with the Satan chicken, Pizza Hut have got the vegan pizzas, etc. I find it a lot easier now going out, especially if we go away on holiday, just the convenience of getting something to eat, being a vegan, which when we started out was hard. But now you can just walk into Subway and they're giving you choices of what you can have. So.
Exactly. It's kind of no excuse now, really, is there? Because it is so easy.
Previously, it was that, I'll have a bowl of salad. But now there is everything there that you, as a meat eater, you can get. The only thing I would say to anybody who changes to veganism overnight is the problem you're going to have is cheese.
Right.
The example I give them now, if you're going to eat cheese, once you turn vegan, give it 6 months before you try vegan cheese.
I agree.
That's great advice, Tony.
Let the memory of the taste of cheese disappear before you have the plant-based cheese. It's different.
It is.
But once you've let it go, and then you start on, it's just cheese again.
I totally agree with that.
I think that's one of the best pieces of advice about veganism I've ever heard. Because you're exactly right.
If you talk to people, they always go on about the cheese tastes horrible. Well, that's because you've got to let it go. Because as you know, all milk, not just cow's milk, there's a hormone in it that makes you want more, because obviously feed the young to make them come back and take more. There's that hormone in. So that's why people get hooked on dairy. That's why you're hooked on milk. That's why you're hooked on your cheeses. But once you've let that previous taste and those hormones disappear from your palate, then you can move to your plant-based milks. Now, I don't think almond milk's okay. I can drink it, but it's a bit too nutty for me. But I really do love oat milk.
Yeah, me too.
Everyone's favourite, I think, at the moment.
And that tastes more dairy than dairy milk. It's great. So creamy and smooth. It's oat milk. There's no excuse to have cow's milk.
I remember when I turned vegan, I can't remember who it was, but I had a conversation with someone and they said, well, I said, well, we have porridge for breakfast every day, because they were asking me what I ate. And they said, well, what do you put on it? And I said, well, we put oat milk. And they went, oh. And I thought, you know what porridge is, right? That's how crazy things get.
Oat milk and oats.
What's wrong with that?
Put lactation fluid from another mammal on your oats.
That's right.
Funny.
Because if we were supposed to drink milk, we would be drinking human milk.
Of course,
because that's what nature made it for. That's why it's the best for our children, because it's what nature made it for, not some other animals.
It's changing. I think people are, we said this last week, the supermarkets are getting, we keep on seeing things getting rearranged, and there's longer and longer plant-based sections, and it's getting more place in supermarkets. And money talks, as you said. You've got the big players of fast food. You've got like Ginster's pasties now. They're making vegan options. It's changing, because when you see the money talks, right?
It's like somebody said to me that the KFC fake burgers are actually cooked in the same oil as the normal chicken, so we shouldn't really have it. I understand that argument, and I agree with somebody if they want to go with that argument. But surely more people going in and getting the fake chicken will make them change eventually. So we should be encouraging it, not discouraging it.
Well, I don't think those things aren't even aimed at vegans anyway, really. Like, I personally wouldn't want something that being cooked in the same oil as a chicken burger, but if I was a non-vegan and I thought, I'll give that a go, I'm not going to care what it's been cooked in.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? They're not for us. They're for people who are maybe transitioning over or, wanting to have an interest.
No,
I think,
and it mustn't be an exclusive club. I always say that about veganism. It just can't, and it can go that way. It can't be. It's got to be for everyone. Come in, have a try some of the food, try some of the fast food, just see what you think. Does it taste nice? Give it a go.
Well, that's one thing I've noticed since going vegan. My taste buds have got a lot better. Everything
definitely.
tastes more flavoursome. You know, food's just got nicer.
Yeah,
Yes.
you said
Basically,
the same thing.
it's weird. It's just got nicer. Now, some guy said to me, "How can you not like steak?" So initially, I said, "Yeah, I do like steak. I've just again chosen not to eat it."
Yeah.
I said, "But how do you like your steak? Do you eat it? Do you just cook it and eat it?" "Oh no, I put on this season. I put on that season. I put this and that." "Oh, so putting on all the vegan stuff on top of it is what makes you like it?"
Yeah.
Well, why don't you try without the meat?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the vegan side of it you're liking.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
did think of that.
Yeah.
Because, it's all these things flavoured. Here's a question for you. In the local supermarket, they had the restrictions and they said you could only take 3 items of milk. Okay? You can only take 3 cartons of milk.
Yeah.
Now, I do recall there was a big legal case where the makers of Oat Milk and almond milk couldn't call it milk because it had been decided in court that it's not milk.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's got to be an oat or an almond drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why did they put the milk restrictions on it
Yeah.
if it's not milk?
Yeah. And we can understand also on the same level is that why are you putting a restriction on something that like, for example, the oat milk, which is readily available, which is not destroying the environment, which is everywhere. They're growing the crops everywhere. Why are you putting the restrictions on that in the same way that you're putting the restriction on the cow's milk? We couldn't quite work it out, could we? You know, in the sense as one, like you say, it's not milk, you know, and also it's something that's very sustainable, very easy to grow and
it's money,
produce,
isn't it? And fear in the industry, and it's money, and
everything comes down to the money, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know? It's, why do people eat cornflakes for breakfast? Well, Kellogg's decided that's what he was going to tell everybody, and that's how it stuck. So no, it's the same with another example of how things have changed in my vegan life. Went to the dentist for a checkup. And since going vegan, they've never had to knock any plaque off the bottom of my teeth. You know, when you go in, you got all this plaque build up. Since being vegan, I've not had the plaque build up.
Oh, that's interesting.
Really interesting.
Yeah, so I wonder what's been causing that, because I'm still drinking as much Coca-Cola and eating as many sweets and chips and what have you as previously. So obviously I'm still taking in all that nasty sugar that causes us problems.
Yeah, interesting.
There's no plaque.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
And then the dentist said to me, "Oh, you're not brushing your teeth often enough. You've got to brush them twice a day." I said, "But I do."
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, no, there's this report come out that says, an industry report's come out that you need to brush your teeth twice a day."
What?
So I said to her,
abnormal, wasn't it?
"Well, no, there's an industry report's come out," she said. "An industry report's come out." I said, "Oh, right. Thanks for letting me know. Where's the industry report come out from?" "Oh, Colgate have put it out."
There you go.
So I said, "Hold on a minute. So a toothpaste company has told you that you need to tell everybody they need to clean their teeth twice a day." Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see the irony in that?
Yeah.
No.
Oh dear.
Well, my dentist about 4 years ago pushed some, you know, they give you the little sample things of Colgate, pushed that on me. she didn't know at the time, but Lex makes her own
I've been making her own toothpaste
for years and years. We've never told her. And then one of the last times we went, she said to the both of us, "You know, your teeth both of you guys, you know, look so good and so healthy." And that's when we said, and we don't use branded, we just make our own up, you know.
Coconut oil and bicarb and
So, right. you know, but you can't say anything. Don't say anything first.
No, wait for the compliment first. Yeah.
Otherwise, how comes the marketing?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You're right.
So I don't know if you're aware, but the reason we're doing these range of videos that we've been doing is because we are in the process of crowdfunding to buy land and buildings to increase our rescue animal facilities because we've run out of room in our home, but we also want it to be a sanctuary for all. So it will be a sanctuary for the animals, but also for a sanctuary for people. Place for people to come and be within nature and that kind of thing. And we want to have people like yourselves, people who are interested in doing things within the vegan community, within health and fitness, to come and chat with others. And we thought, well, instead of waiting and sitting on our hands until we've got this place, we'll do the chats now. Why
Absolutely,
not?
yeah.
Do a little series, get inspired series. So that's kind of what we've been doing. This is how this came about. So we hope that when we do get the place, that you can come and do a talk
Definitely.
to actual people.
Yeah, Tony James sort of run inspired and talk about, you know,
not a problem at all. Gladly.
Races.
Gladly.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah, because I think it's running such a night. It's this thing that's close to my heart as well. It's such a integral part of being human, as you touched on at the start. We should all run, and I think getting that message across in sort of a nation which is struggling is so important. So yeah, that'd be wonderful. You can come along and inspire some people. Well,
they say running is one of the cheapest forms of exercise you can do, unless you buy the shoes. Then you buy the vest. Then you buy your £200 running watch for your GPS. Then you buy your £200 headphones.
Well, that's getting into it. You can start with nothing, can't you?
Yeah,
you can indeed. And one of the video series that I've done on shoe reviews, I've actually done a review on a pair of £14.99 shoes from Decathlon and how good they are for running. You don't have to be spending your £200-300 on a decent pair of shoes, because we're not all running marathons like Kipchoge or Bekele.
Yeah, of course.
We're actually running these fast times. So,
you know, I run barefoot, so that's really free.
Barefoot running is something I'm wanting to look at. My eldest son is actually gone down to the minimalistic shoes, you know, he's actually running with those, and he's thoroughly enjoying it. But again, why is it that this corporate has come along and said you need to strap an inch worth of foam at the bottom of your foot to be able to run? We were all running barefoot for millennia.
You're talking my language, Tony.
Yeah.
I get people that are just like, what's with the no trainers? And I was like, well, what's with the trainers? I wasn't born with them. It's a strange thing to say.
It's that corporate world, isn't it?
100%,
everything comes down to that corporate world. But no, at the moment I am running with the corporate foam on the bottom of the feet.
Yeah.
But it's a thing that going forward we'll look at. We'll see how the sun is running, and then we'll move over.
Yeah,
because
easy
we
into
were all running in plimsolls, weren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of them things. Once you just get used to it, you allow your body just to ease off that sort of raised position, so it feel like a car with suspension at the start. You know, raised at the back. Once you ease back and then let the muscles adjust, it just becomes the norm.
Yeah. People say, what about the rocks and what have you? But your foot, the way your foot forms, it forms around the rock, so you're not actually hurting it.
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens. I said this to Danny, who was asking me, Danny Ship, a few weeks back. And if you do hit on anything that's like a bottle cap or something that you've missed, your entire leg and hip does a sort of convulsion that's faster than you could think, and just raises up, and you don't have time to think about it. It just deals with stuff, stones and everything. It's amazing. It's a real different experience.
Yeah, the human body itself really is fascinating when you go into it, especially the mind, because when you're running, what your mind is doing, what your brain is doing, it's speaking to all the muscles in your body, finding out how much oxygen they're using, how much more oxygen do they need, talking to the heart, you need to be pumping this, telling the lungs that you need to be taking more oxygen in, and then just getting it all around there. And we don't even know this is happening.
And
it's totally amazing when you go into the physiology of the body and what it can do and doesn't do sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
It is pretty cool stuff, huh?
Yeah, Johnny, it's been such a pleasure to speak to you today. I think I could just speak to you all day long, but I'm not sure anyone will be watching.
I'm sure there'll be one or two runners out there who would do.
Well, yeah, as Johnny said, thank you for speaking to us today, and hopefully you'll come back when we have our place and
no problem.
Absolutely.
Be there for the grand opening.
That would be wonderful.
We'll go for a run.
You. And have a wonderful good luck with the Big Six and the training and everything that's moving forward. We'll look forward to following your journey.
We'll have all your links below so people can check it out and follow your journey and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
No, thank you very much indeed for having me. It's been a pleasure. Really enjoyed it. It's awesome. Something about talking to like minds. It's really good.
Yeah, it's nice. It's good fun.
It's been good, really good.
Bit of therapy.
Well, we hope you enjoyed today's video.
Please like, subscribe and share as much as possible.
Thank you.